Welcome back to the channel. Let's make some chili garlic paste. You're going to need some chilies, fresh out of the garden, a calculator, hopefully one that works, some salt, some garlic, some water, a vessel, canning jar to ferment in with a couple of different lids I'll get into in a while, an airlock, a scale, knife, cutting board, all the usual suspects. And here, I'm just cutting the tops off of most of these chilies. Some of the bigger ones I actually cut in half and get them into a bowl because we have to weigh them for figuring out how much salt to add to our brine. I'm just finishing up with that, and you'll see here, this is the last jalapeno from my plant. I actually thought they were done already, but I had one left when I went out there this morning and picked everything. There was one little lonely tiny jalapeno, so I threw that in there too, along with the habaneros and the banana peppers that I had. And here I'm just peeling some garlic that's also from my garden. And we'll get that in as well. Here we'll put our canning jar on the scale and then tear that out because we need to get a weight of the water and the chilies and garlic so we can calculate how much salt to add for our brine. So we're going to fill the jar with our chilies and garlic, pouring enough water to cover everything. You want to use non-chlorinated water, filtered water, bottled water. Chlorinated water will not work because it will kill any of the natural yeast that's on the peppers and the garlic. And nobody wants dead yeast. You'll see here that I'm trying to be a little bit retentive, trying to get to a nice round number, but it's too hard to give up. So then I grab a calculator and discover that the calculator doesn't work. I was trying to use a calculator so I could show the math while I was on here, and that didn't work because the only other calculator I have was actually on the phone that I'm using to record this. So I have to stop, give up, and you'll see here in a second, throw my fist in the air and grunt. So I get out a piece of paper and do the math, and or to show you the math. I actually did it on the calculator on the phone. But your salt content is 2.2%. So you take the weight of your vegetables and water, multiply that by 0.022, and that gives you how much salt you add. And you can see that I rounded it up just a little bit. Then I put a lid on and give it a good shake to incorporate the salt into the brine. To keep the chilies and garlic submerged under the surface of the brine, I use a Ziploc bag with some water in it. Don't put too much water in it like I did here and then have to pour some out. You want to use enough water to keep everything submerged and leave enough headspace for your airlock if you're going to be using one. Once you're happy that everything is set, push your bag down into the jar, and so it doesn't interfere with the lid or the airlock, whichever you are using. Here I'm just assembling my airlock lid, but I'm going to show you, you can use a regular lid. You just have, like I said, just have to keep it on loose like that. But I use this old mayonnaise jar lid with a hole drilled in it, a grommet, and the airlock. I put some water in the airlock and put it all together. Okay, and once your lid or airlock is on, move it to a nice warm spot to ferment. It should take a couple of weeks. We'll check back in. Okay, here we are 13 days later. You can see that the brine is slightly cloudy, and you can see the air bubbles floating up there on the top from the fermentation process. So now I'm just going to remove the bag with the water in it that's holding everything down, and I'm going to strain the chilies and garlic out of the brine, reserving the brine for later. Now we put everything into a food processor, and I'm going to pulse it until I get it to the consistency that I want. Okay, now that that's blended up, I'm going to give it a taste, and then we'll season from there. We'll see if I need to add any more of the brine to it, or if I need to add something sweet. I have something pretty interesting I'm going to add to sweeten it up if it needs it, but it needs wheat, and it needs some more brine. It's too thick. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, so that was hot. I had to take a break. I had to go get some water and let my hiccups go away. So to sweeten that up, I'm going to add this. This is garlic that has been fermented in honey. It's been in here 3 years now. So I figure, why not add some fermented honey to my fermented chili garlic paste? And like I said, that's a little too thick, so I'm going to add some more of the brine back into it. But I'm going to save the brine because I'm going to use some of that and some just straight pickled garlic that I'm making, which you make exactly the same way. I'm not going to do a video on that because you make it the same way, all the same ratios. I'm just adding a couple of spoonfuls of that into the brine for the garlic to help kickstart the fermentation process. It'll just ferment a little bit easier. This has been in for 13 days. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks. I was going to get it out a couple of days ago, but I was a little under the weather, so I didn't. So let's get this blended up with a little more brine and a little more honey, or a little bit of honey, and we'll see how it tastes then.
That is so good.
That did it. That is perfectly balanced now. It's great. You can adjust this however you want. Use whatever chilies you want. Use whatever sweetener you want. I know most people aren't going to have 3-year-old honey fermented garlic. So you can use just honey. You could use maple. Maple would actually probably be really good. Brown sugar, white sugar, whatever you wanted to use to sweeten it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got the process down on how to do it. You can do this with any vegetable. And leave a like, leave a comment, and see you on the next one. Bye. Jumping back on here real quick, I forgot to tell you that store this in your refrigerator for, it should last easily months. It's pretty acidic from the lactic acid from the fermentation process and the salt, so it should be fine. If you store it on the shelf, it should store on the shelf, but it's going to continue to ferment, and if you don't watch it, you could crack the jar or whatever you stored it in. So store it in the refrigerator. That will slow down the fermentation almost to a complete stop, and it should be fine. So again, bye. See ya. And there's the garlic with some of the brine.